Welcome back to Vibe Podcast's latest Conspiracy Club Investigates. Today, we're looking at the current Charlie Kirk assassination conspiracies, a topic researched for us by David Morgan. Today I'm joined by Charles and Angela.
Good to be here, Alice. As a criminology expert, I'm always keen to look at the simple facts of a case, and usually, they're the right ones, without needing to dive down rabbit holes.
And I'm Angela, your go-to for all the things the mainstream media isn't telling you. My YouTube deep dives often uncover the real stories behind the headlines, and I'm ready to explore what's really going on here.
Excellent. So, David's research highlights several alternative narratives circulating since the tragic shooting of Charlie Kirk. Let's start with what's called the acoustic or radial map theory. Angela, what are people suggesting here?
Well, Alice, people online, in these private investigator threads and on forums, they're looking at phone audio, time of arrival data from multiple mobile phones. They claim it shows the shooter was not on the rooftop the authorities identified, but somewhere else entirely. It sounds like a pretty compelling piece of evidence, doesn't it? If the sound came from a different spot, that changes everything.
Angela, that sounds intriguing in a late-night talk radio sort of way, but from a forensic standpoint, it's incredibly problematic. While systems like ShotSpotter exist, they require highly calibrated, synchronized sensors. We're talking sub-millisecond clock synchronization across devices, precise knowledge of sensor locations, and a controlled acoustic environment. Casual phone recordings, they're not synchronized to that precision. GPS can be meters off. Urban environments are full of echoes. Trying to definitively triangulate a single gunshot from random phone audio is, frankly, a non-starter for forensic accuracy. It's technically challenging to the point of being unreliable.
So, essentially, you're saying that while the idea of acoustic triangulation is valid, the data people are using is not.
Precisely. It's like trying to navigate across the ocean with a toy compass. It might point north, but you're not getting to your destination reliably.
But Charles, if they have some data, and it's pointing away from the official story, shouldn't that be enough to at least question the official location? Why aren't the authorities releasing their raw acoustic data then, if they're so confident? It just adds to the suspicion, in my opinion.
That brings us to the next point, the trajectory or wound location theory. Angela, what's being claimed about the wound?
This is a big one. Some people are saying that the bullet's entry wound, descriptions like down into his chest cavity, or a higher entry point, just don't line up with a rooftop shot. If the shooter was on a roof, you'd expect a certain angle, right? And if the wound implies a different angle, it makes you wonder if the official story is accurate. I've seen some pretty detailed analyses of this on YouTube.
Again, this is a classic example of social media speculation running ahead of actual facts. Mainstream reporting initially described a neck wound, and frankly, media summaries are not autopsy reports. To determine bullet trajectory, you need a full forensic autopsy, precise entry, exit coordinates, internal wound path mapping. Bullets can yaw, fragment, hit clothing. A visible external wound is not always a direct indicator of the exact firing angle without that internal data. Assertions about a chest cavity entry contradicting a rooftop shot are speculative without access to the actual medical examiner's report. We don't have that publicly, so these claims are unsupported.
But they should release it, shouldn't they? If they want to dispel these theories, full transparency is key. The fact they don't makes people think there's something to hide, like a drone shooting Kirk, not a rifle.
Let's move on to the surveillance video. The video continuity theory suggests available rooftop footage begins partway through the roof transit, omitting the shooter's approach. Angela, does this sound like a red flag to you?
Absolutely, Alice. It's like a movie where they cut out the most crucial scene. The FBI released footage, but if it only starts after the figure is already at a midpoint on the roof, how can it prove they came from the designated spot? It could be staging, or they could be deliberately hiding footage that shows something else entirely. I mean, common sense tells you that if you're trying to show someone's movements, you show the whole thing, right?
Angela, with all due respect, common sense, in a criminal investigation often clashes with the practical realities of surveillance systems. Cameras routinely record segmented, partial fields of view. It's not uncommon for a clip to start part way, because that camera only covers a portion of the roof. Furthermore, investigators frequently release selected clips for investigative reasons, to protect other camera angles, preserve evidence integrity, or not compromise ongoing operations. A gap in publicly released footage is not, in itself, proof of staging or foul play. A robust challenge would require authenticated camera logs, full raw video files, and proof of alteration, not just the observation that a clip is incomplete.
So, what people perceive as missing footage isn't necessarily a sign of a cover-up, but rather standard investigative practice or technical limitations of surveillance.
Exactly. It's a very common misconception that every camera records a continuous, all-encompassing view, like a movie set. The reality is far more fragmented.
But doesn't that just feed into the idea that they're controlling the narrative? If they want us to believe one thing, they release the footage that supports it and hold back anything that doesn't.
Finally, let's discuss the claim about Tyler Robinson's text messages being fake due to their tone and word choice. Angela, what are the concerns here?
This one is really fascinating. People on Reddit and TikTok, they're pointing out that the messages attributed to the suspect, Tyler Robinson, they lack emojis, they use formal phrasing like squad car instead of something more modern. Young people just don't talk like that in texts or Discord, do they? It just feels scripted, like someone wrote them to fit a narrative, not like real, organic communication.
While I understand why stylistic anomalies might raise eyebrows on social media, they're incredibly weak evidence in a legal context. Message style varies widely, by individual, platform, situation. Someone might use slang with friends but be more formal when discussing a serious matter, or when they know their messages might be scrutinized. More importantly, official evidence releases often provide plain text transcriptions, not raw screenshots, which can omit timecodes, emojis, or specific formatting. The authenticity of these messages in a legal proceeding is established by device forensics, IP logs, and provider verification from Discord or telecom companies, not by a subjective analysis of vocabulary or emoji usage by internet users.
So, the feel of the messages isn't what counts in terms of proving their authenticity. It comes down to verifiable data.
Absolutely. It's a technical forensic question, not a literary critique.
We've covered quite a few of these alternative theories. Charles, looking at all of them, what's your overall assessment of their plausibility based on the public record?
Based on the public record, the most plausible aspect remains the FBI video showing a person on the roof and exiting. That's directly supported by released evidence. The other claims, the acoustic maps, the trajectory issues, the video continuity gaps, the text authenticity, they're either technically challenging to prove with casual public data, or entirely speculative without forensic backing. To materially strengthen any of these claims, you'd need raw audio files with verified metadata, full autopsy reports, authenticated camera logs, or provider attestations for the messages. Until that forensic-grade data is presented and peer-reviewed, the official account, supported by the FBI's released video and mainstream medical summaries, holds.
And that's why these questions persist, Charles. Because they aren't releasing that data. If they did, maybe we wouldn't be having this discussion. But in the absence of full transparency, people are going to continue to look for answers wherever they can find them, and these theories are going to keep circulating.
That's all for today. A big thank you to our guests Charles and Angela and researcher, David Morgan, for providing our topic. We look forward to you listening to our next episode of Conspiracy Club Investigates.